مساكم الله بالخير، أهلا وسهلا فيك هاردي.
أهلا كيفك؟
الحمد لله، كيفك أنت؟
الحمد لله.
هاردي عمره 57 عام ورحال منذ عام 1989. Tell us about your experience, the first experience.
I was a young boy and I grew up in Cairo for 8 years because my father was working. And every morning I was driving to school along the River Nile. And then, this dream came. One day I want to follow the longest river of our planet from its very mouth to the very south by bicycle. And then I finished school. And then this dream came back, and then I prepared myself for a year because in the end with a bicycle you cannot carry much, and the bicycle is your house.
True.
So you need bed, you need
tent, sleeping bag,
food, you need everything. Like, do you take, what do you leave behind? It was complicated, more complicated maybe than today, but on the other hand, what was great?
What?
I did not have a clue what was awaiting me, so I was completely open. And you will have to reach out to people. Mm-hmm. And you have to make people your friends, otherwise you cannot survive.
How did it come to your mind? I mean, to travel between the continents.
I was growing up in Egypt, so I already got the idea that there is no more than one normality. I'm sure Omanis think the way we think this is normal. And if you live different, it's not normal.
Exactly.
And the same do Germans. But because I was growing up in a different culture, mm-hmm. from the beginning I was learning you can do things this way, and you can do it this way.
So that helps you to discover and explore.
Because I at the age of 16 I returned from Egypt to Germany, and I was so unhappy because I could not cope with the German way.
Wow.
It was really difficult. Then I thought, let me go and see how other cultures live and what I can learn, maybe to find a better way for myself. The biggest courage you need for starting. Once you're on the way, there's no problem. The wheels turn and you just go one day after another. But to say goodbye to your family, maybe for 1 year, maybe forever, with 21 years, to look into your mother's eyes and you see her tears, and by the way, my mother really suffered in that year. Yeah. Because also, you could not communicate like today. There was no WhatsApp, there was no email, so making a phone call to Germany from Africa for 3 minutes, you would have to pay $30. That was not money I had. Abadan. So the only way was really writing like Ibn Battuta, Risalat. But on the other hand, because of that, the world was so much bigger. So
Which
much
way?
More, because there were so many unknown things. Today you look at Google Maps and you have already an impression.
Yes, true.
Is it mountainous? Is it green? Is it? I didn't have that. I did not.
You didn't expect anything. You just went.
You just went, open-minded. I'm really feeling sorry for the younger generation because you will not have the chance to ever experience this kind of feeling. You go, and you are only relying on yourself mm-hmm. and on the people you meet on the way. Nobody there can help you. How? My parents were not hearing from me for 3 months sometimes because there was no way.
Wow. And were they worried about you?
Of course, they had the trust in God that He would help me, and alhamdulillah. But I had some moments really where I thought, okay, that's it.
Okay. And in the end you made it.
Alhamdulillah, yes. It took me like 13 months.
How many countries did you cross?
21.
21 countries in one trip. Since you are a traveler since 1989 and you still keep traveling till today, until this moment, what is the difference between that time and this time from your experience?
Traveling now has become much more easy and more comfortable, but it has become less surprising. It was more real back then because you had to expose yourself. Now today with English you can communicate everywhere. In Africa I had to learn how to communicate without English, just with my hands. I learned Arabic because of that also.
Wow.
I learned Swahili, but then also I learned to tell my story just with a pantomime without any words. Coming from far and it worked somehow.
But still in a few countries in the world today you can't do that.
Yeah, there are always humans. A smile is a smile, and a tear is a tear. In the end, what brings us together is much more than what separates us.
Yeah, anyway, let's go to your trip to Oman and Yemen, and the book that you wrote about Oman and Yemen, you call it اللبان, which is the land of frankincense. How did you get the idea and why and when was that?
I did my بحث علمي, like my research for my master's in Yemen.
Okay.
And Yemen blew me away.
When was that?
That was 1997.
When I was A year.
شوف كيف؟
ما شاء الله عليك.
And then at the end of my study there, I went overland to Oman. That was my first time also to come to Oman.
Okay.
And you know what is so amazing, Basil? اليمن والعمان نفس الكبر، تقريبا نفس التاريخ. شوف كيف اليمن يعيشوا في ماضي. It's on the way to the future, let me put it that way. Everything is really on a very high standard.
صح.
And how this can be that two countries which are bordering each other can be so different and so much the same, I found that very fascinating. So the idea came, let me do a book about it. But also, because you know, I'm from Germany, I'm sorry to say so, but the picture that people there in Europe have about many Arabic countries, it's a shame.
Which way?
Because mostly people have a very negative image because of irhab and you know and
because of the media.
Because of the media reporting.
Yes.
Because I feel I'm partly Arab somehow, with my history, with my friends, with my life in Egypt, with my traveling and all that, that I really felt I have to be an ambassador to try to change the image and to help tell the truth.
That's what I'm trying to do when I travel, to show people the real idea from the other countries in the world, from the other cultures.
Exactly.
We don't judge from our home or from our spot here and judge people there. No, go and see.
من فضلكم, there's no matter where I go, the country which I'm traveling, I can learn something which my own country, my own culture will not teach me. And you know, yes, Europe might be very advanced when it comes to infrastructure, a lot of importance of money. But what I learned from my Arabic brothers and my African friends and families also, that dignity and respect are so important. And my culture does not really honor that. The jam'iyya, be it in a family, of a tribe.
The social life.
You are masters of social life. And we are so poor in social life because of this individualism, you know, because we stress so much that the me and my own interests in contrary to the we. Here maybe it's more important to focus on the we than sometimes on the me. At least maybe in the past. I think it's changing also.
A little bit, unfortunately we are going to the individualism. But I hope that is not affecting a lot. Still try to keep the social life. You see the new cities that the country is building now. There's like a code for the modern cities that makes people to gather for gatherness, to be close from each other, to not lose the social life. Tell us now about your book and your trip between Oman and Yemen.
But for the book of Yemen and Oman, you know, I was always fascinated by history, by culture. And so it was quite obvious to do a book between Muscat and Mukha. Muscat being on the Indian Ocean, Mukha on the other side of the Arabian Peninsula at the Red Sea. The name Mukha actually gave the name to the coffee, the famous coffee, because it was the export harbor for the Yemeni coffee. And Muscat also was a trading harbor for a long time, back I think like 3,000-4,000 years. And so I was following all trading routes, and the most important, the best known trading good of Arabia obviously was Leban, which was so important that you could say it was the oil of the antique.
Before the new oil.
Before the new oil, it was the old oil. So really people would scale it or would weigh it with gold. Imagine like 4,000 years ago, Leban was already exported from the far, from Oman to the center of Europe. Because in some graves in Central Europe of those times, we found Leban. Imagine.
Really?
It's true. So trade is really one of the big shaping powers of this planet, and it has always been, obviously. What you see here is Yemen al-Akhdar. During Bilqis times, 3,000-4,000 years ago, they were already having a lot of agriculture in Yemen, and they were using the water they had. And you see these old terraces. They are still from those times.
Like from Bilqis time?
Yes. But in Bilqis time, more land in Yemen was under agriculture than it is today. So they were really a high culture, like the pharaohs. Even if you go to Yemen cities, this is Sana'a al-Qadima.
That's incredible.
I mean, this is before the war, and I don't know how it's looking today.
You took this picture, right?
Yeah, I took it, and I think it was the first morning in Yemen when I woke up. I lived in a mafraj, which is the top story of a traditional Yemeni house, where people come together to talk, to chew, to ghazin, but also to play music. It's a very important part of the culture in Yemen. This was my view in the morning. Isn't that incredible? Can you believe that this is the 20th century? I mean, this is a souq في Sana'a al-Qadima. coffee shops, and you have traditional restaurants. But look at the shops here. This is a shop for jambiyas. I think you would call them khanjas.
Khanjar, we call it.
Khanjar, but in Yemen it's jambiya, and every man is wearing this still today. Here it's only folklore and very special occasions. Maybe you wear, but there you wear it on a day-to-day business. It's lived culture. Look at the shoe shop here. Isn't that a beautiful arrangement? And the souk, I also found traditional healers which still keep the traditional knowledge about plants. This country is really so special, and I just hope that some of these things will survive the war. I really feel with the Yemeni people who are suffering so much at the moment. You have to know Hadramaut is the biggest wadi of the Jazira al-Arabiya, and you can even see it from outer space. So it's a huge wadi, and inside the wadi it was part of the Tariq al-Luban. Because there was water, they were building cities which could sustain the caravans with food and camels and protect them. Look at this city. It's the city of Shibam. These are skyscrapers, but they are 500 years old and they're only built from tin. Some mud, some wood. I was talking to German archaeologists who run a project here, and they told me Shibam is a mirror of the old king's town of Shebwa. Because when Shebwa was destroyed about 2,000 years ago, the inhabitants of Shebwa moved and they founded Shibam of today. The Yemeni people knew how to build in this style already 2,000 years ago.
It's hard to believe.
Can I please say something? Dear Omani friends, can you please look after your old buildings? I was in Salalah and my heart is crying when I see the beautiful... They are simple houses, but they are part of their history, and people don't look after them. They just prefer to build modern buildings. But I'm really happy to see that on Jebel Akhtar, actually, some of these beautiful old houses have been restored for guest houses. This is where tourists like to live in, at least when they're coming from Europe, because modern houses we have there. That's not why we have to come to Oman, but to see the art of old buildings. And isn't it funny how history plays, that this was the highest culture of that time, and today look how much Yemen is suffering?
And they lose a lot.
And they lose a lot. And I just pray that all those people who are driving the war from inside, from outside, that they become sane and that Yemen will find back to peace, because this is not only Yemen's culture, it's our culture, it's the culture of human beings. That was, I took that in Wahiba Sands.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like without editing, or?
That's without editing. It's one of my most favorite. Why? Look at the camels. They look like dinosaurs. Right? And why? Because there was a bit of fog, and so it looks like the camels are stepping out of the time. From the past, isn't it?
Yeah.
They really look somehow interesting. Different parts of the camel, to me at least, the legs, the back with this funny hump. Look at this long neck. But God really knew what he was doing. This animal is so perfectly adopted for life in desert.
True. There's like a ayah in Quran says, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبْلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ.
You know why they have the long legs?
Why?
Because when there is sandstorm, the toughest part of the sandstorm only rises about 1.5 meters above ground. So the body stays on top of that. And if you look at the feet of the camel, for me they look like dinosaur feet. Let me show you an impression from Musandam. Musandam, I called it in my book, where mountains and sea marry. Because the mountains raise from the sea to 2,000 meters. This is a boat. Can you see how small, just a tiny white dot, and how big this mountain is? This gives you an impression. Even modern scenes can be very special.
Yeah.
You see the lighting? These are only street lights which create this beautiful pattern from the grill here. I really like that. I was visiting Amouage factory here in Maskat. And now I give you a riddle. When you're a photographer, how do you take a picture of a nice smell? Well, look what I did. Will this show you a nice smell? Yes or no? This lady?
Yeah, true.
You already can feel she's smelling something very beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Where the old Oman still somehow. Then this was the Katib Asouq. He's taking notes of every sale, and because later the taxes from the town, municipality. Everybody else is moving, discussing, but he is sitting, only his eyes is moving, and look at his eyes. He can kill with his eyes. Why? If he doesn't have this look, people will cheat him. But with this kind of look,
You don't even try.
You don't even try to mess with him. And then we have Dhofar, maybe, where camels go to the beach.
Okay.
They enjoy themselves bathing. I really like that. Coming back in December and February, and then I will try to look for the people which I was taking pictures of 15 years ago.
Okay.
And to ask for their story and how their life is now and how their life was there.
Cool.
I hope obviously that I will make many new friends when I'm asking around, do you know this man? Do you know this woman? You know, then maybe people will show me, or they say, yeah, he moved, or this or that.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about your book?
It's, I think, a special book because it's not only the images, but I did research.
Did you sell it in Germany?
In the German countries, it's been widely sold, but now it's out of print. You will only find it through Amazon, maybe online. So it's images and it's text, and I did a lot of scientific research also on Luban, on the trade, on the culture.
Will be any copies available in December when you come back to Oman?
Actually, I've been buying all the copies which are available second-hand.
You are buying it?
I bought my own books back.
Why?
Because I want to come to Oman, and then I give everybody I find, I will give one copy as a present.
Oh, wow.
That's the plan.
Great. That's great. That's nice. Inshallah. We are waiting you in December, and if there's anything to talk about later, we're gonna make another.
صح. Let's do it this way. Exactly.
Because you have flight very soon.
Yalla ya shabab, you have the decision. Give it likes, a lot of likes, so that he feels he should interview me for a second time. صح ولا مش صح؟
صح.
Travel, experience the world, meet other people.
Travel keeps you alive and keeps you young.
It keeps you young and older, but that one we will discuss next time. I have to catch my flight, I'm already late.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Have a safe flight.
وباسل and the whole team, thank you so much for having me.
إن شاء الله مرة ثانية بنسوي حلقات
إن شاء الله.
حول عمان ونزور بعض الأماكن في عمان.
يلا باي باي. مع السلامة.